This is Mackenzie Franklin from Side Game LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now today I would love to talk with you all about my favorite game designers. So I've been in the board game space for about 5 years now, and after playing so many games, I've found some designers that I really enjoy. And these are my compiled list of 10 of them. Now, these designers in general have to have at least 3 games that I really enjoy, but I'm going to talk about each of them and 2 games that I like a lot from them. So their strengths, their weaknesses, things that I really enjoy. And that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the list. Now, first off, my number 10 game designer is going to be Wolfgang Warsch. So Wolfgang Warsch is wonderful. He has designed so many different games that fit the family genre super well, from small things to complex things, and lots of recognition and awards that he's won for all of his different works. So the first game I want to talk about is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. So Quacks is this awesome bag building game that's perfect for families, lots of variability, lots of fun, simultaneous play, gets you going, and it won the Kinderspiel des Jahres in 2018 there. So very awesome, lots of recognition, and a wonderful game. And in addition to these large sprawling games, he also has smaller roll and writes, such as That's Pretty Clever. Amazing little tiny game, great for solo, great for multiplayer, great for travel. I really like this one. So he's got a lot of range here, and I do really enjoy all the work by Wolfgang Warsch. He also has some other notable titles, including The Mind, Bricks, Fuji, Illusion, lots of stuff. Super awesome. Great job, Wolfgang Warsch. Up next, we have my number 9. This is Daniele Tascini. So Daniele Tascini focuses more on heavy style games. And he's very well known, and the reason he's on this list is for his T series of games. And these are going to include games like Tekenyu and Tzolk'in the Mayan Calendar, as well as Teotihuacan. So let's talk about Tekenyu really quick. Tekenyu is this amazing dice drafting game. He did pair up with David Turczi on this, and he barely missed this list, but David Turczi, and he co-designed this game. Wonderful dice drafting game with lots of technologies, very tight, only 12 turns in this whole game. Fantastic design. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great Egyptian theme. And then Teotihuacan, my favorite of his work, is this fantastic worker placement game where you're moving around a rondel, moving your characters to different action boards, using effects. Lots of amazing things happening here. And I love the 3D components. I love that you're building pyramids, and I love the different technologies and special abilities that you can get here. So for a heavy game design, Daniele Tascini does a great job. Up next, my number 8 is Rob Daviau. So Rob Daviau is very famous for his Pandemic series of games, and most recently we've played Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Really enjoyed that. All of his work with the cooperative genre, really pioneering the legacy systems, and he just makes games that are fun for large groups, fun for cooperation. Awesome job. So Rob Daviau, the 2 I do want to talk about are Pandemic Legacy Season 0. This is a fantastic experience, the best legacy game in the trilogy for Pandemic. I love it. And this one in particular has you having passports and taking on different roles as you play. Really interesting, great twists on the mechanics, and a lot of fun. Another whole line of games that he works on is the games by Restoration Games, including Downforce, which is an amazing racing game. So I think he does a great job with this, with going back and revisiting games, and I think that this is one of the awesome ones that he was able to take and turn into something a little bit different. So I love what he's done with the cooperative space and with revitalizing old games. So that's my number 8. That's going to be Rob Daviau. Number 7 is actually a duo. So this is going to be Josh and Adam Carlson. So Josh and Adam Carlson here, they are responsible for chip theory games. And so they have been coming out with some amazing titles with some unmatched component quality. And Josh and Adam here have created some of my favorite games. And one of the games I want to talk about is Too Many Bones, a wonderful adventure-style game where you're going to be going with this fantasy characters from little adventure to little adventure, having encounters and building up your dice pool and experience as you play. It's just a blast. I really like this one. But they also make tiny little games like Game to Pick a Game, or Council Edition, the Gateway Edition. You can mix and match. They're great. So I really like that component quality. I love that they have a big range on the kind of games that they're making, and they're a company and they're a pair that I'm going to continue to support. So wonderful stuff. That's Josh Carlson and Adam Carlson. Awesome team. Up next, my number 6 is Vladimír Suchý. So Vladimir here, he has created some more incredible games, including one of my favorite games ever, Underwater Cities. So Underwater Cities is this fantastic worker placement game with card-driven actions, and you're going to be going to places and matching cards, and super satisfying feeling. Lots of bonuses, lots of production chains. And speaking of bonuses, his latest game, Praga Caput Regni, has bonuses galore, and it's just a blast. So I've really enjoyed everything that Vladimir has put out that I've tried, and I'm really excited for his venture into the Black Plague era, and that seems exciting. I love that he's able to start up his new company, Delicious Games, and every game that he's put out so far has been a banger from that company. So super excited for everything this man puts out. Vladimír Suchý, my number 6. Number 5 is another man who has created some of the best games that I've played. This is Alexander Pfister. So Alexander Pfister is known for his variety of different games. He makes lots of tiny, small games as well as large, more robust designs. So he's got a couple of Spiel des Jahres wins under his belt, and one of the games that I really adore from him is Great Western Trail. It has you in the Midwest wrangling cowboy and taking him out to Kansas City. Fantastic game with this ever-evolving and expanding board. I actually featured this on my top 10 game boards. And then another game, one of my favorites just in general, period, in my top 5, is Maracaibo. Maracaibo is an amazing card-driven game where you're sailing around the Caribbean and you are interacting with everybody that you interact with. You're interacting with everybody that populates this area. You're going on quests, you're going on explorations, you're interacting with the local navies that are colonizing the area, but you serve as mercenaries that can kind of come and go as you please. Really robust, really wonderful. I love this one. So Alexander Pfister, I love pretty much everything that he's designed. I have a great time diving into his systems. I like how he takes time to refine them over time, and they're wonderful. I'm always excited for the next thing that he puts out. So fantastic. I can't wait for the Maracaibo expansion. Up next, my number 4 is Eric Lang. Eric Lang is another wonderful designer that has some of my favorite games in his pedigree, and he has done some work with Rob Daviau actually to create some of the most memorable experiences, and that would come in the form of Cthulhu Death May Die. So Death May Die has you taking this Arkham theme, and you're going in and taking out these giant creatures. So a lot of fun, a lot of cool cooperative nature, and a great take on the Arkham mythos. So awesome, the Cthulhu mythos. In addition, he makes some amazing area control games. Blood Rage, Rising Sun. Blood Rage in particular is, once again, in my top 5 here. Amazing game. I love that the miniatures are here and they show off this amazing gameplay as well. So I'm so happy that Eric has such a wonderful design philosophy of getting kind of quick actions but meaningful, using miniatures in fun and creative ways, and taking area control and adding this wonderful theme to it. I can't wait to try Ankh coming up soon, but Eric Lang is a person that I'm always watching for his next design. So that's my number 4, Eric Lang. So number 3 is in the complete opposite direction. This is not miniatures heavy at all. This is going to be the Eurist of Euroe, a awesome, interesting take on worker placements galore. This is Uwe Rosenberg. He has created some of the best Euro games. He's just consistently good with his wonderful takes on worker placement, the unique boards, the unique action systems, and the unique just systems as a whole that he implements. So I really enjoy his designs, the history behind his designs, so things like Feast for Odin, where you are living the life of Vikings in everyday area, and then you also have games like Hallertau, where you are German farmers that are using crop rotation. I love his different worker systems, where sometimes you're creating workers, but the more workers you have, the more you have to feed. I like games like this, Hallertau, where you're going to be having action spaces that get more expensive the more people use them. Games like Feast for Odin, where you're going to have to be putting more workers out to take stronger actions, but you have a limited amount of workers that's growing as the game goes. I love it. I love every single twist that he's taken on the worker mechanics. I love the amount of thought and passion that goes into each of his projects, the history that he infuses in games like Newsfjord or Fields of Arle. Even these games here are absolutely wonderful. I love the variability, the different strategies, the amount of choices. These games keep you coming back for more and more, and every time Uwe releases a new design, I'm excited. And inversely, he also has small games like Patchwork and Bonanza and Nova Luna, these games that are going to have you in a smaller, condensed space, but still with these tight decisions, and I love it. So Uwe Rosenberg, with his huge range and his awesome variety in what he does, that's my number 3. Now, number 2 is actually going to be paired with number 1. So number 2 and number 1, I'll go to, number 2 goes to Mj Newman, and number 1 goes to Nate French. Now, the reason this is because they have designed my favorite games, and they've done it together. So Mj Newman is responsible for games like Lord of the Rings, the LCG, as well as Arkham Horror, the card game, and that's usually where MJ is going to be putting in most of her time. And Nate French has also assisted with those games, but Nate French has also had a hand in Marvel Champions. So I love the games these put out. I love the philosophy. I love the ideas they've taken from designing these card games and how they've refined their choices. Let's go with Arkham Horror first, because that's the project they both work on. In Arkham Horror, you have these giant scenarios that you're going to be crawling through, and each scenario is wonderful. It's a lot of fun. It's very different. It takes the ideas of all of their previous work and puts them together. They have really refined their passion and their design as they have worked. And you can really see it in these newer scenarios, and you can see it in the early scenarios. They're taking the space of a card game and really pushing it to the limit, and I think that's amazing. There's so much variability, there's so much change, there's so much thought into each decision that each card is made. If you watch live streams with MJ, you'll see that she has completely thought about every single aspect of the game. Every single decision, every single point, every single number that's on a card is huge. It's a huge, important, and you can tell that she's very passionate and very thoughtful about this game. So I love everything that she's put into games like this. And let's go to Nate French and his work on Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions is an amazing game where you take control of a superhero. You are the superhero, and you're taking down villain after villain. You feel amazing. You feel so powerful, and that's so awesome. The fact that Nate has taken the ideas from these games as well and refined it into a new system, but that offers something completely different, is wonderful. I think that I'm really excited for anything that these two make in the future. I hope that they're able to use that Star Wars license and give us something new as well with that. I know it's another LCG to think about and to take commitments to, but I can't get enough of these card game designs. So this is what I spend a lot of my time with, and it's one that I absolutely enjoy. So top designers got to be Nate French, followed closely by Mj Newman. And that is my list of my top 10 favorite board game designers. So if you have any questions about what you saw here, please let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree with my picks? Who are your favorite designers? What games should I try from these designers I mentioned? For example, I know that I really got to try Chaos in the Old World from Eric Lang. It's supposed to be incredible, but that one's really hard to get a hold of. I do have a friend that has a copy, though, so maybe I can get a game of that in. So really excited to try that one. Yeah, I'm very excited to try all these things. I love everything these designers put out, but let me know what I should be looking for in the future, whose designs I should be taking out. There are so many good designers, some that obviously barely missed the list. Like I said earlier, David Turczi missed it. There's so many good designers, so I can't stress enough. So I'm not going to list them all here because I don't have the time, frankly. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Side game strong.